New South Wales. A place to feel free, to feel alive, and most of all, to feel new again.
With the FIBA Women's World Cup squarely on the horizon, the Australian Opals face Japan in a three-game tune-up series in Sydney and Newcastle. Game 1 tonight at the Quaycentre in Sydney. On Game 2 on Sunday afternoon. Game 3 is in Newcastle on Tuesday night. You'll see them all right here on ESPN. Australia ranked 3rd in the world, Japan 8th, but winners of the last 5 Asia Cups and the silver medalist from last year's Tokyo Olympics. So both teams legitimately eyeing off the World Cup podium come September. Good evening and welcome to the road to the World Cup. It continues. It's coming our way in September in Sydney. Jason Bennett alongside former WNBL player and current coach of the Australian Under-17 Sapphire team, Zoe Carr. And Zoe, good evening, welcome, and what a wonderful opportunity to get some game experience for this Opal squad. And from a development perspective, to get a look at a whole bunch of new players in two teams that look like they're built for speed.
Yeah, definitely. Japan are known to be a fast-paced team and they look to get out and run, and we've kind of matched that with the group that we've selected for tonight's game. So it's going to be interesting to see how we go.
Yeah, fascinating squad situation at the moment. Roughly probably half the Australian squad is pretty much a lock, but that means the back half of that bench, probably 6 or 7 spots are still up for grabs. So Sandy Brondello, who'll be watching remotely, and Cheryl Chambers, who'll be pulling the levers over the next 3 days, have got a lot to look at and learn as they start to gain some more and more insight and start to lock in that squad for the World Cup come September. Joining us tonight is some Australian basketball royalty courtside in Sydney this evening. Jenny Screen and Michelle Timms, between them 4 Olympic medals, a couple of World Championship medals as well. Good evening and welcome to you two. And Jen, well, as we said, it's a fantastic opportunity for the Opal selectors to get a bit of a look and a bit of insight into some new faces.
Jace, it is indeed. Thank you for having us. We are so excited to be here. The teams are not picked for either team, and we know that, and Timsy is one of the best point guards in the world. You must be excited to see who's going to perform for the Opals.
Absolutely. I mean, I love not only the battle that's going to go on with the point guard and heel, and unfortunately we won't see Rochi tonight. She's out injured with a hammy, but hopefully she'll be back game 2 or 3. And then we've got young Steph Reed making the squad. So, you know, this is going to be challenging. It's a baptism of fire for those point guards. You know, I absolutely love the way the Japanese play hoop. And they are one nation that tests you out as a basketballer. Your agility, your footwork, your ability to communicate on the court when they run their on balls, and they do it better than anyone else in the league, so in the world.
And we know it's going to be tough for the Opals, but we know defense is at the forefront of their mind in this series. Now let's talk about playing on the home soil. You did it in Oz 94, you did it in Sydney. How good is it to play in front of a home crowd?
There's nothing better. You know, it's one thing you put on the green and gold and you feel like Wonder Woman, but then getting a chance to play in your own backyard with the supporters, they're like the sixth man, you know, and they have, you know, as I said, lucky to have played 2000 in Oz 94 and felt the power of the crowd behind you.
Well, the crowd is building here tonight. I'm excited. I know Tim's is. The girls are ready, and we're going to have a fierce contest on our hands. Looking forward to you guys calling it in the studio, Jace.
And looking forward to your insight courtside. 2 of the greats, Jenny Screen and Michelle Timms, joining us. Well, Zoe, let's take a look at this Australian squad under Cheryl Chambers in this series. They want to play an up-tempo athletic style, not just against Japan where it's suited, but going forward. They see this up-tempo athleticism as being a real strength of the Australian program.
Yeah, and like I mentioned before, that's exactly the sort of team that's been selected for the game tonight. The thing that they'll have to keep in mind, though, is if you get into a track meet with Japan, it's going to be a long game. So you need to play with pace, but on your terms, and make sure that we're not just going up and down, because Japan are very quick and they've been doing it a lot longer than us.
Starting 5 on the left. It's a great blend of youth and experience. There's probably 5 players there that have played over 1,200 WNBL games between them. There's another 4 that have played over 100, and then there's 3 that are just starting out. So this is a really interesting group.
Yeah, and a really good eye on the future too. So we're starting to see some new blood coming in, but still that veteran savviness to be able to help the new blood into the group.
And watching on from around the world, there's a bunch of absent Opals to potentially slot into this side come September. So the depth is certainly there. And really exciting to hear that Annalee Maley, the upside of her unfortunately getting cut by the Sky this week, is she's on her way back to Australia and available to play games 2 and 3.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Annalee play and pull on the green and gold at this level and see how her game translates from WNBL and the amazing season she had into international basketball.
The Japanese silver medalist at last year's Olympics, their first ever Olympic medal. Very talented. They're eyeing off a World Cup podium. And it's going to be Miyazawa Yuki to take the initial tip against Kayla George. Here we go. Great to have you with us on ESPN as the road to the FIBA Women's World Cup continues. Game 1 of our 3-game series from the Quaycentre Arena in Sydney. And a false start.
It's always good for nerves, just to have a little bit of a false start.
So the players, a little bit of confusion there. Just working out what exactly we're doing. It's going to be Australian ball from the sideline. Tess Madgen comes across and goes, oh, I've got no idea what's going on, but
I'll take it.
We'll have it, thanks. So Tess, fresh off a championship with the Melbourne Boomers, she and Kayla George. Great crowd in at the Quaycentre in Sydney. It's going to be Madgen with the inbound to get things started. Heel. Miyazaki. Here's Garvin. George. Beautiful ball inside. Initial foul. And blitzarves from Akahu Himawari, Japanese vice-captain.
That's a great first possession for the Opals. You know, high percentage, uncontested or largely uncontested finish on the rim and getting straight to the foul line early. So a great start and a great look for their first possession.
Blitzarves leaves the first one short. One of the veterans of this team, 241 WNBL games, a few nerves early. It's going to be Japan through Miyazaki. So quick, so skillful, so good, gets to the hoop. First points, Japan.
And protecting the perimeter is going to be massive for the Opals tonight. If we can't keep the ball in front of us, it's going to be tough to get a win.
And there's the heat from Miyazaki as well. Creates the steal on Heel. George gets the rebound. Off to Heel, and look at the pressure straight away they bring on the Australian ball carriers. Something the Aussies are going to have to settle down and work through. They play a very different style. Not a big team, but extremely quick, high pressure, very skillful. Blitzarves. Foul called on Akahu Himawari. And an early taste of what Shyla Hill can expect in this series.
Yeah, it's a good game plan from Japan to, look to put a lot of pressure on the rookie point guard. But I'm sure she'll settle in and be able to handle that pressure as the game goes on. Early nerves, first time in the Opals uniform, so she'll settle in and be able to handle that as the game goes on.
Blitzarves to George. Now Heel, screen from Kayla. It's about to give to Garvin. Blitzarves back to George, gets open. She's so good from that mid-range, and Australia's on the board.
Just Kayla's bread and butter, pick and pop.
Miyazaki off to Okoye Monica. Toto. To get the ball through hands quickly. Long range is good. Japan with the first three-pointer of the game.
And that's the danger with Japan being so potent from the perimeter off the dribble. You get lulled into a sense of having your hands down, ready to guard the penetration, and that's when they then come out and shoot the three.
So George stripped, and Japanese ball. So Aika Hiroshita, 20-year-old, making her national senior debut. 5 debutantes in this Japanese side. Miyazaki against Heel. Creates some space at the three-point line. Can't get it to go. Here's Blitzarves tidying it up. Pressure comes from Hiroshita. Confronted off to George. Gets to the three-point line. Now to Heel. She sets up. Can't get it to go. The Aussies get the board through Madgen. She's triple teamed. Trying to fight her way through and does. George is open. It's short. Another board for Australia. Garvin. The Aussies with the size advantage. And they'll be wanting to use that off the glass tonight. Garvin, you could see her thought. She was trying to get it to George. It's cut off and tidied up by Okoye. Miyazaki. Back to Miyazawa. And now Miyazaki. They link again. Miyazawa wants to work on Madgen. Little feed through was clever. Toto couldn't get the finish. George to Heel. Back to Kayla. Blitzarves again, the double team comes. That leaves Kayla open. Can't make them pay on this occasion. Madgen looks to tidy up, goes herself and lays it in.
Great follow-up by Madgen there. I'd like to see a bit of an earlier dive on the rim as they have that pick and pop with Kayla. So we've got some pressure on the rim, suck the defense in a little bit and try and open Kayla up with her pick and pop.
Koya. Miyazaki working on George, does enough. Hassles her out of the shot. Madgen off to Blitzarves. Garvin posting up. Loses the handle. It draws the foul. So it's Japan with the early lead. Here's another look. Just a slight chop there from Hiroshita Aiki. Heel. Madgen. Blitzarves. George. Straining, sharing it around. Heel wants to drive, go herself. Tough finish. Won't drop. Takata, the skipper. Hands it off. Here's Miyazawa. Takata. Yazuma, lovely feed through, and Takata with a finish.
That is a beautiful pass. And tough. I mean, you're in the lanes, you're trying to be aggressive, but great back cut and even better pass.
The veteran, Takata Maki, the skipper. 32-year-old, made a debut way back in 2009, heading to her 4th World Cup. Led this team to a silver medal at the Olympics last year. So Beck Cole into the game, Nicholson in as well. The inbound comes to Toto. Here's Kayla George already having an impact. The size of George and Scherf and Garvin, the Aussies will be looking for that as a competitive advantage tonight against the speed of Japan. And here is George. Such a tricky prospect. And as you mentioned, Zoe, that's her bread and butter.
Yeah, she loves the mid-range game. So, you know, whilst our advantage against Japan is our height, we still need to play into her strength.
Hiroshita, lovely dish to Noguchi. Japan regain the lead. In fact, they're out to a 3-point advantage now. This is Heel. Pressure comes from Toto. Garvin. Nicholson into the action. Back to Darcy. Nicholson to Heel. Aussies looking to go up tempo. George. Nicholson. Can they get someone free for a shot? George. They work at the triangle. Garvin, can she finish? She can. Good patience from the Australians.
Yeah, I mean, again, the last 2 possessions have seen our bigger players shooting perimeter shots, which is great, but we also want to make sure we're exploring them inside and being able to find them ways to be able to get higher percentage shots if those shots start to dry up.
Zuma to Takata, works on Garvin on the line, gets to a good position, lays it in for 2. Takata Maki. Heel against Toto. George. Lovely work inside to Garvin. Yazuma wants to push the pace again. Toto, Takata, Yazuma to the corner. Noguchi, lovely move from Noguchi Sakura.
And that all started with defensive transition. Japan pushed the ball from the start, put us into rotations, and we never really caught up. So we've got to do a better job, or the Opals have got to do a better job of stopping the ball earlier so it keeps us in our position.
And the response from Shyla Heel for 3. Jenny Screen, your early thoughts?
Shyla Heel knocking down a 3. That girl is gassed right now. She needs a sub, and we can see Steph Reed sitting on the sideline waiting to check in for her. But someone that's just checked in is Rebecca Cole, making her debut as an Opal, which sounds kind of strange because she's been around a long time in the 3-on-3 scene. She's been to a lot of camps with the Opals, but this is her first game, ladies and gentlemen, in the green and gold, and it'll be interesting to see how she goes.
Nicholson to Garvin. And a great point Jenny makes. This high-tempo, high-intensity game. The Australian players are out of season. Haven't been playing regular basketball for a couple of months now.
Yeah, and it makes a difference. And then to add to that, being at an international and Japan-paced game.
Toto with the three. We expected a high-scoring, dynamic start. This is going to be a really fun series. George, Nicholson, Heel. Garvin, influential early, off to George for three. Kayla, the championship captain, four-time WNBL champion. Takata. Toto. This is Noguchi. One-on-one with Cole. Lovely little feed. And the foul is called.
Japan just doing a great job of face-cutting the opals, you know, getting between the defense and the ball. And as you can see here, just getting between the defense and the ball. And that's really difficult to defend. So opals are going to have to do a better job of making sure that they can see their player, see the ball, and stop that before they cross across their chest.
Jenny Screen, Michelle Timms, early thoughts and what might be going through Cheryl Chambers' mind right now?
Well, I'm speaking off the back of Zoe Carr right here. It's the defense. We heard Kayla talk in an interview recently about the identity of the Opals, and defense was one of their focus points. They want to play hard. They want to be feared, especially on the defensive end. And right now they're struggling a little bit defensively. And like you said, conditioning's an issue, and they'll probably settle into the game a little bit more. But Timsy, what are you seeing? Maybe the pick and rolls are an issue for the Opals on the defensive end at the moment?
Yeah, I think it is. Actually, I think they're doing an okay job on the pick and rolls, to be honest. I think they're doing a three-man switch and whenever the point guard gets involved, and then they're just doing switches between the other players. So I don't think that's harming them too much.
Pick Cole for three. And the Aussies out to a 4-point lead. Just over 2 minutes remaining in the opening term. Here's Emura. Miyazawa. Back to Emura Yua. She looks for three, but short. Aussie ball. So these two teams will meet in the group stage at the World Cup in September. Really tough group too. Second, third and fourth ranked teams at last year's Olympics, all in that group. The Aussies ranked 8th at the Olympics last year, but with a vastly different squad this September. Froling, Nicholson, George. Now Cole. Back to Keeley. Steph Reed, always busy. Called for the travel. Well, Shannon Seabohm, Steph Reed's club coach at Townsville, telling us at the start of the year that he thought Steph should be in the Opals conversation, and by the end of the season she was.
Yeah, and defensively she is just a nightmare. So she's, you know, Jenny mentioning before about the Opals' identity at the defensive end. She embodies that, so it'll be good to see. And if you're watching her now, watch the work she does when her player doesn't have the ball. That is what is very impressive.
It's a sideline ball for Emura Yua, 19-year-old, another making her national debut. So there'll be some nerves in this Japanese group as well. Big moment for them. Here's Okoya. Back to Emura. Nice move in the corner, but just losing the handle was Hiroshita. Japan regain it through Hiroshita. Nice move through the middle. Finding some space in the lane was Emura, but she couldn't get the shot to drop. Nicholson has it. 1:15 left in the opening term. George to Reed. Back to George. Her mid-range has been deadly early. On this occasion, it's a little short. And Hiroshita being pressured by Nicholson. Wants to push it again. Miyazawa to the corner to Kanahashi. Not quite. And here's Steph Reed. George. Nicholson. Cole. And her foot on the sideline. Japanese ball. It's been a non-stop opening term. Barely any stoppages in general plays, though. We no timeouts. These players will be looking forward to quarter time.
Yeah, and it's actually a really good thing. You know, let the players work it out a little bit. Not too much coach intervention. I'm sure as the game goes on, they'll look to get involved a little bit more, but just let them run the nerves out. You know, get that conditioning back a little bit and settle into the game, and then start playing the game of chess.
Lauren Scherf into the action for the Aussies. There she is there, laying a screen for Steph Reed. Off to Cole. Aussies happy to match the frenetic pace. To the corner for Nicholson. Sets up for the mid-range. And the Aussies have settled in pretty nicely here with 10 seconds left in the opening quarter. They're out to a 6-point lead. Final play for Japan. Emira. It's got Miyazawa calling for it. Goes herself, gets to the free throw line, can't get it to drop. And will catch her breath. A frantic opening term at the Quaycentre in Sydney. And the Aussies hold a 6-point lead at the first change. It's Australia 24, Japan 18. Quarter time at the Quaycentre in Sydney. Australia and Japan, game one of their 3-game series. Great to have you with us on ESPN and KO. It's the Opals by 6 points as we get set for second quarter action. Jason Bennett alongside Zoe Carr with Jenny Screen and Michelle Timms sideline. Japan to start in possession with Miyazaki. Off to Okoya. This is Todo. Akaho, Okoya, Takada. Good start, Japan. They halve the deficit. It's back to 3. Reed to Froling. Imagine to the corner from Blitzarves. It's short to Carter. Scraps for it under the hoop. Jump ball.
Again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but we're living and dying by the mid-range game. We've got to find ways to get ourselves scores on the rim just for when that starts to dry up.
So an Aussie ball. Australia with the possession arrow. Reed inbound to Madgen and now to Blitzarves. Reed looking busy. Back out to Blitzarves. Reed gets herself to space. 3 range. And Steph Reed nails the 3 ball to re-establish that 6-point lead for the Aussies. Takada. Off to the dynamic Miyazaki. Gets to the free throw line. Doesn't get the friendly roll. Scherf off to Reed. This is Steph Reed's kind of game. Fast-paced, intense. Players flying up and down the floor. Madgen found an opening, lost the handle, kicks it to Blitzarves, and then Tess tidies it up. Reed in space again for 3 more. It's short. Madgen can't quite get the O-board, and it's Akaho who does for Japan. Todo off to Miyazaki, lovely ball inside, and Takada the N1. Takada Maki. We'll head to the stripe. Jenny Screen, Michelle Timms, your thoughts on the opening term?
Well, it was
fast and furious, I mean, are pretty nervous at the start for a lot of those girls, but they've settled into it really well. You'd have to be happy if you're the Australian Opals. The scoring has been great for them. It's been an inside dominance with Darcy Garvin 7 points and Kayla George having a captain start, I must say, with 7 points as well. And then on the other flip side for Japan, Hiroshita, 5 points and Toto also 5 as well. If we can just clean up our one-on-one containment a little bit and a lack of scouting at times, I think in the second quarter you might see this lead extend a little bit more. Timsy?
I've been really happy with Tess Madgen out there, especially on the offensive glass, and I think she's shown great poise out there for her team, and coming up with those offensive boards have really helped them stay in the, with the lead offensively.
She really is that blue-collar work. I think the only other notable thing on the statistics for the Opals in that opening term was 6 turnovers.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen at times when you've got new players coming in, they're nervous, they're trying to find a system, but if they can clean those up as well and not allow Japan to get off to the races in transition off those turnovers, we'll be in good stead.
The other good thing too, Jen, is that Coach Chambers has got everybody in except for Jade Melbourne, so everybody's hit the court for the Opals.
No Maddie Rocci tonight. She's out with a hamstring. No Zatina Akuzo out with the flu. As Blitzarves makes her second. Annalee Maley on her way back from America to be available for games 2 and 3. This is Miyazaki. Game 2 Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. Game 3 Tuesday night in Newcastle.
It's a good look change-up defensively by the Opals there, just to go into a little half-court delay trap, just to stop Japan from just ramming it down our throat like they have the last few possessions.
Hiroshita couldn't get the 3 ball to go. This is Reed off to Scherf. Now Blitzarves. Drives to the hoop. 2 more for the Aussies. Fast break play. And Madgen gets back on it.
Madgen has been fantastic this game in creating extra possessions for the Opals, whether it be on the glass or just getting a deflection, getting back on D-trans. She's been pivotal in making sure that we've got extra possessions to give us a chance to get more scores on the board.
First time out of the game comes with 7:20 left in the second term. Chance for Cheryl Chambers, Shannon Seabohm, Kristen Field, the coaching staff to get their message across. The Aussies lead it by 6. Let's take you inside the Australian huddle with our sounds of the game.
On the on-ball, they keep waiting for the pick and turning the corner. Get it deeper and this whole area's open.
So instead of 1 up now, we're going to run 1 down instead, because there'll be some space if they help off the big. So big, just stay down and we'll run 1 down for a little while and keep them low. So there's no help and then you'll get some more space. Hey, that's awesome. Way to get back on transition. That's what we need to do. Okay, so either rebound or get back here. Is it our ball baseline here? They might look to try. Let's go wave here just in case. Wave. Opals on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Just Coach Chambers there, just making sure that the girls are aware and ready for any type of full court pressure that may come here. It's always a good little change up for a team to be able to go to a press out of a timeout, because you can get to your positions and be ready to go, especially with the way Japan defend. Being in a press breaker, even if they're not in a press, is still a very good idea. Offensively, they sound like they're looking to keep the big closer to the rim and look to have more pressure on the rim with that and create more space for their height and their advantage.
So Reed will bring it up the floor for the Opals. Works to the left for Blitzarves. Back to Reed, who's now found some space for the little runner.
Steph Reed just relishing this opportunity, isn't she? Both ends of the floor making great contributions.
Miyazaki. Hiroshita, quick in pass inside to Miyazawa, and now Takata can't get it to go. Gets her own board and draws a foul.
We spoke about the defense. Scherf's block there actually played into Japan's hands. If she had maybe let it get up, it might not have gone straight to Takata. But, again, the 3-way switch on the on-ball screen is working well. They've just got to try and find a way to switch back as quick as possible so they don't get the mouse in the house of Steph Reed on a big inside.
Carter, wonderful Olympic Games. Average 14 points, 4 rebounds and 1 assist. 3-time Asian Cup gold medalist. Such a leader on this team. The 32-year-old from Aichi plays her basketball at Denso Iris. Substitutions as Steph Reed sits down, replaced by Shyla Heal. Kelly Froling takes a spell as well. Garvin into the game for Australia. So Heal against Yuzuma. Now to Garvin. Japan pressing up at every opportunity. A little overzealous there. Foul on Akaho Himawari. So Jade Melbourne gets an opportunity. The exciting youngsters in this Opal squad. The 19-year-old originally from Traralgon in Gippsland in Victoria. Up and coming young talent. Off to another in Shyla Heal. A really exciting combination. The Opals for a very long time, those two. Heal, Madgen, back to Tess. Working on Yuzuma. And shot clock violation. Good pressure there from the Japanese defence.
Yeah, Opals did a great job of getting the screen and roll, getting Kayla George on the rim, but then the weak side stayed still. They need to lift to that high post to be able to drag the split line away so we can get that high-low look.
Miyazawa inbound to Yuzuma. Apologies for some technical difficulties. We're just working on getting our graphics back for you as soon as possible. Yuzuma off to Miyazawa. Takanahashi gets to the free throw line. Australia's got defensive representation, and this is Jade Melbourne, always looking to push the tempo. Garvin, beautiful read and quick hands from Toto, but she stepped on the sideline. Frustration there for Toto Nanako. Read it beautifully, picked the pocket, but couldn't trip the light fantastic down the sideline.
And I think she thought she might have got away with it there for a second, but no. But even with that sort of deflection, that adds pressure to the opposition. So even though you didn't come up with the steal, it's still putting pressure on the Opals.
It's a 7-point game, 5 3/4 minutes remaining in the opening half. His Heal is fouled. So the foul there on Umezawa. Shyla will go to the line to shoot 2. Jenny Screen, Michelle Timms, halfway through this second term. Aussies holding a handy lead. We'll come back to Jenny and Timms in a moment.
Delay press there doing its job as well, forcing the receivers to so close to the sideline that it ends up out of bounds.
Garvin, Heal, back to Darcy. He's got Shyla in some space. That's closed down now, so she goes to Melbourne. Through George to Cole. Back to Garvin, now Heal. Again, good constant movement here from the Aussies. You could see where Shyla was going. She was trying to get it to Darcy Garvin. Must have been touched by a Japanese player. Ref allows them to play on, and Jade Melbourne does exactly that.
That's actually a perfect situation for Jade Melbourne. Just a broken play where she can create and do something that, you know, she's comfortable with without having to think about it too much. Because when you're this young, stepping up into an Opals team, there's a tendency to get inside your own head. So that being her first possession and her first score will be massive for her.
Miyazawa working on Melbourne. Kicked it out to Umezawa, who couldn't make the shot go. His Heal. Screen from George is effective. Garvin to Cole. Draws a crowd, kicks it out to Kayla, steps inside. Can't get it to go, but Japan will tidy it up through to Kanahashi. Yuzuma, so light on her feet. Works her way through some traffic.
Just so quick on that catch. It's just lightning straight to the floor and one dribble, almost one step, and she's on the rim. So again, it's the work for that has to start as soon as Japan gain possession. It can't be waited for until they get to the perimeter. It's got to happen earlier.
So the Aussies out by 11 with just over 4 minutes left in the second term. Let's head courtside to Jenny's screen. Jen.
Guys, it's been a great contest here. Just want to talk about Jade Melbourne on the back of you guys. You talked about the broken play, Zoe. That's up her alley. But also, let's just take for a moment. She's 19 years of age. She's got such maturity. She's decided not to go to the WNBA as a 33 draft pick and just take this time to get into the WNBL for another third season, grow her game a little bit more and get a bit more experience in the green as gold. I get excited watching this girl play and what she's going to have an impact in the Opals in the years to come.
Yeah, it's a great point, Jenny, especially, you know, a lot of young athletes today, they want everything right now, whereas she's taking her time to work on her craft and make sure when she does take that step, she's ready.
Worked beautifully for Ezzy Magbagor, didn't it? Stayed in Australia, worked on her game. When she felt she was ready to go to America, she did, and the progression's been outstanding. Toto Nanako draws the and one. So busy, Toto, 21-year-old from Hokkaido originally. Plays for the Sunshine Rabbits in Japan. Good lockdown defender, mid-range shooter. Known for being able to draw fouls. So mobile, so quick. Gets defenders off balance. And makes the and one. Garvin to Nicholson. Here is Toto again, pressuring Lauren Nicholson. Almost ran out of space. Manages to find George and keep it alive for Australia. Shyla calls for Nicholson to come at her, and she does. Garvin, Cole, wants George. Shot clock down to 4 seconds. Kayla's going to have to go herself. And Yuzuma with the rebound for Japan. Inside 3.5 minutes in the opening half. Japan working their way back. They trail by 11. They're back to within 6 and make it 4. That drops from Noguchi. It's been a good fight back here for Japan. Last couple of minutes, they've managed to get back in control.
Yeah, again, going back to what they do well, putting the ball to the floor and catching the defense off guard. Offensively for the Opals, they've gone a little stagnant. We've been low in the shot clock for the last few possessions. So we need to, you know, make sure we get that ball movement, get it back to what was working early.
So a chance for Cheryl Chambers to address the troops and just reset. As Japan close back in to within 4. So Cheryl Chambers, assistant coach, stepping up to coach this series with Sandy Brondello coaching in the WNBL. Let's listen in to Cheryl.
Okay, so we'll have a look at, it doesn't matter who goes down, have a look at that. If we haven't got it, we've got the spread, the pick and roll at the top that we need to go out of, okay? But we need to start making loads and getting into it. One down's okay, we can still continue. Actually, the other thing we can run is one up with a pinch. Yeah. Pinch it, you can either get the hand off or then you can get, you guys mouth the rip and go. But if you can't rebound, you've got to get back. Go, guys. Opals on 3, 1, 2, 3. Opals, let's go.
So Coach Chambers there just talking about, you know, running their offense with a pinch. So that's a pinch post on the weak side. So what I was talking about before, they got their roll, screen and roll, and they're big on the rim, but the weak side stayed stagnant. So what she's asking for is for the weak side big or lowest player to lift high to be able to either drag the defense away, the split line defense, or be able to go to a high-low look.
Kayla with the inbound. 1-2 with Reed. She's going to get it back to Steph, but she's covered, being harassed here by Okoya. So Kayla brings it down the floor, and they turn it over.
We all know Japan are amazing defensively, and they put a lot of pressure on, but at some point, one of our point guards has got to step up and say, I'm going to carry the ball here, and I'm going to do so safely. There's far too much of Kayla George, Darcy Garvin having to bring the ball up the floor and carry that load.
Zuma can't make that shot. And here is Reed bringing the ball up the floor. Off to Garvin. She's been guarded by Okoya. Nicholson. Reed. Now George. And a foul called there on Noguchi. She stepped across to try and defend Beck Cole. So as Jenny Screen mentioned earlier, Beck has been around the system for such a long time. 30 years of age, 211 WNBL games, but a chance tonight to make her debut. It's a wonderful testament. She's battled through multiple knee reconstructions and just got better and better with age. The last couple of seasons have been outstanding. Reed, George, Garvin, they work it around. Nicholson from the corner, that'll get the bench up.
That's a great extra pass, great ball movement, inside, outside, shifted the D, uncontested corner three, highest percentage three-point shot in the game.
So the Aussies back out to a 7-point lead. Can Japan respond? My word. And it's Toto Nanako once again as Yuzuma Shiori hits the floor. Two teams trading threes. So the foul's going to be called on Steph Reed for the offensive push. So it will be a Japanese ball. Steph will take a seat. Her second foul. And it'll be Miyazaka Saori with the inbound. Okoya. Noguchi. Miyazaka, so quick. So light on her feet. Toto so dangerous from just about anywhere. Hiroshita couldn't quite control it.
That on-ball defensive containment needs to improve. We can't afford to be helping so much when they're such good shooters from the three-point line, or being able to put the ball to the floor the way they do. So we've really got to lock down defensively on that one-on-one containment.
Again, it's George doing the carrying. Now Nicholson. Kayla with the screen. Nicholson can go herself. The Japanese defence just sat off, and Lauren made them pay. But a quick ball the other way, Toto to good position, and she draws a foul and will go to the line to shoot two. And the speed and smarts of Toto Nanako coming to the fore here. Just 21 years of age. Won silver at the Olympics last year and was a part of their Asia Cup gold medal in 2021. From a sporting family, her dad a professional volleyball player and her mum professional badminton player. She makes them both. Back to a 4-point game with 1:38 left on the clock. Garvin to Heel. Little shimmy, gets Hiroshita off balance. Not quite the N1, but clever footwork there from Shyla Heel.
Yeah, and a great job to really step into that and draw that contact to ensure she got to the line.
Just a little shimmy there.
And just that little hit that gets her from, maybe something that didn't have a lot of options to now 2 free throws.
A 20-year-old Shyla Heel made her WNBL debut at the age of 14. It's a 5-point game, 6-point game rather, with 90 seconds left in the opening half. Jenny Screen. It's been an interesting since that last time out. Australia just managed to settle down defensively.
Yeah, they did indeed. I like how they've locked in a little bit more on the defensive end, but I've also liked what they've done on the offensive end, their ability to move the ball off pressure. We know that the Japanese team are actually showing really hard, almost trapping on the on-ball, and that secondary ball movement has been quick and efficient to allow the open shots, and we saw Lauren Nicholson hit one deep in the corner. Equally, I love the way that we've now, with the pressure, we're actually ripping hard and going to the bucket really aggressively like Shyla Heel just did then. So I think if we continue that, come out of this timeout, don't allow Japan another point on the board, and get the momentum coming into the second half, that gives us a good opportunity to get this win come the 3rd and 4th quarter, guys.
Yeah, I think spot on, Jenny. I mean, if we can clean those things up and be more aggressive on the rim and get those higher percentage shots or get ourselves to the line, we could probably potentially break this game open a little bit and have that luxury of being able to then rotate a little bit more and see a few different combinations. So, getting that the defensive stuff started to pick up, but now offensively, put the pressure back on Japan, so it's not quite so easy for them to then get running on us.
Miyazaki to Carter. Here's Toto again. Hiroshita. Now back out to Miyazaki. Just electrifying first couple of steps. You can say the same about Toto, working on heel. Fall away shot. Cleaned up by Blitzarves. So now a chance for the Aussies. George, harassed by Hiroshita. Heel to Garvin. Now Magin. Shot clock down to 6. Blitzarves needs some support inside Garvin. Turns, shoots and misses. Miyazaki, Hiroshita. And a travel. And the benefit of having someone's Kayla size to go up and retrieve that ball.
Well, and at 32, nonetheless.
So a good minute there out of that timeout for the Aussies. Managed to hold Japan, as you said, Zoe, not giving up any more points. Would have liked to put a couple on the board themselves, of course. There's a 15-second differential between shot and game clock coming into half-time. Magin, Garvin. Blitzarves, back out to Magin. Sees the lane open up.
Smart from Magin there. The defense played the lane rather than playing her, so faking the pass and then getting on the rim. Next time now, they close out to her, the extra pass comes, and we've got a Shyla heel wide open on the three-point line, which is great for us.
So Miyazaki had it slapped away there by Kayla George. There'll be 4.8 seconds left on the clock. Inbound for Miyazaki. Goes to the skipper, to Carter. Back to Miyazaki, to Carter. Did she get the shot away? To Carter Markey with the final shot of the opening half. A thoroughly entertaining opening half at the Quaycentre in Sydney. Japan flew out of the blocks. Australia managed to settle in midway through that opening term. They led by 6 points at quarter time, and they lead by 6 at the half.
Yeah, again, the start of the game, you could put it down to nerves, you could put it down to a bit of conditioning, but once the Opals settled down, especially defensively, and started to put some possessions together at the defensive end, you saw them start to break open a little bit, and the offense started to flow a little bit easier as a result as well.
So the Aussies out to an 11-point lead at one stage. Back to 6 now as we take you courtside. Here's Jenny Screen.
Hi guys, I'm here with Japanese great Himawari Akahu. How did you see that first half, and what have you got to do in the second half to try and claw back this lead?
まず第1クォーターはどう思いますか。で、第2クォーターに向けてどんな形にしていきたいですか。
そうですね。自分自身はファウルしちゃってダメだったんですけど、みんな結構アグレッシブにできてたので、ここからも後半もっとそのまま続けて走り勝ちたいなと思います。
I personally, I got 2 or 3 fouls. As a team, we just, being aggressive at the moment, so we just want to keep going.
Good luck in the second half. Thanks so much. Timsy, over to you with Tess Magin.
Thanks, Jen. Yeah, Tess, what were your takeaways of the first half?
I think we need to help each other a bit more on defence. When we're packing in the lane, we're making it really hard for them. When we're leaving people one out on an island, they're getting to the hoop at ease. When we're poised, we're getting to our stuff. We're getting great shots. They're just obviously very disruptive, pushing us out of our stuff. So just a bit more poise on both ends of the floor. But I think we're doing a really great job so far.
Yeah, definitely doing a great job on the boards. And personally yourself, you're my MVP to half-time. And so you're in terrific form, matey.
Thank you, Timsy. I'm just trying to kind of show the debutants, show the younger ones the way that we play tough and hard, and trying to lead from the front with all the little effort areas.
All right, well, good luck in the second half.
Thank you, Timsy.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Timsy. Entertaining opening half at the Quaycentre in Sydney. It was Australia by 6 points at quarter time. It's the Aussies by 6 points at the half. It's the Opals 45, Japan 39. Game 1 of this 3-game series, Australia and Japan on ESPN.
Tell Nick to check. Tell Jason.
Yep.
Jace.
Yeah, just send me a photo.
Yeah, just check your WhatsApp.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Greenie.
Give it up for Julko anywhere here when you're ready.
Half-time at the Quaycentre in beautiful Sydney, destination New South Wales. The basketball world will have its eyes on New South Wales come September. The FIBA Women's World Cup takes place September 22 to October 1. Tickets are available now, so get your package and get up there and have a look at 12 of the best women's basketball countries in the world going head-to-head for that world title. It is half-time at the Quaycentre. It's Australia by 6 points. They led by 6 at the quarter-time break, 6 at the half. We've got a couple of Australian basketball legends courtside, Jenny Screen and Michelle Timms, joined by a third legend, a Hall of Famer coming up shortly. And there's been lots of talk, Zoe Carr, about Lauren Jackson and a potential comeback. She's hasn't played since February of 2016. She's played 5 NBL 1 games, and her numbers have been absolutely extraordinary. Averaged 32 possessions, 14 rebounds in her 5 games for Albury Wodonga at the age of 41 after 6 years out, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, if you want any evidence of whether she's the best of all time, there it is. You know, she's just slotted back in nicely and returned to form. So, yeah, it's just great to see her back on the floor. And you know, whenever it is that her game ends and she decides to call it quits, you know, she'll get to do it on her terms as opposed to through injury, which is a player like that, what she deserves. Well,
there's been some talk around about Lauren potentially making it back into the Opal side for that World Cup. We're going to speak with Lauren in a moment. She's just coming over to join Jenny and Michelle. After this 3-game series, the Opals have got another 2 games to come in New York between the 24th and the 31st of July against Canada and Puerto Rico. As you mentioned, Lauren's played 5 games. That's 2 months away. That probably gives her a chance to play another 8 to 10 NBL 1 games and then see how she's travelling.
Yeah, I mean, I don't envy the selectors at all, to be honest. But it'll be interesting to see, you know, what can happen in that amount of time. We've seen what's happened in this short amount of time upon her return. So, yeah, anything could happen.
Well, let's take you courtside now. Jenny Screen and Michelle Timms are with the GOAT, Lauren Jackson.
Yes, we certainly are with the GOAT. Very excited to have you here, Loz. Now, I know your son's here, so were you able to watch any of this game, or have you been chasing him around the venue?
Yeah, it's been a bit rough. He's definitely been up and down, but yeah, look, I've seen it. It's been good. It's been good first half.
Yeah.
Talking about good is you've made a return to the NBL 1, playing for your hometown Albury. How's it like to put the boots back on?
Oh, I'm loving it. Yeah, I'm having the time of my life out there. It's fun, no pressure. It's awesome.
It's a massive effort. You know, you must have dropped around about, no offence, about 30 or 40 kilos. So your dedication to this comeback is real. How far into this dedication can we fantasise about maybe seeing you one day, you know, pulling the green and gold on?
That would be a fantasy for sure. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens and how the body holds out. For me, it's one day at a time, and who knows when my last game is going to be. So I'm just enjoying it every step of the way.
Do you get like a bit itchy watching the green and gold out here now with the Opals?
Oh, a little bit maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Watching the girls right now and obviously playing against Japan, who are the silver medalists from Tokyo, how do you think the girls are faring right now?
Really good. They're playing great basketball, so it's great to watch them. The bigs are doing great, so it's good to see Kayla out there doing some great things. But yeah, look, I'm enjoying it. It's a great game of basketball, and yeah, really positive signs from the Opals.
Well, it's positive signs for the Opals right now, but it could be positive signs even more if Lauren Jackson is on track, potentially. Who knows? But we're back to you in the studio, guys.
Thanks, LJ. Thanks, Timsy. Thanks, Screeny. No pressure, LJ. We're not putting the pressure on you, not at all. You take it one game at a time. We're just delighted to see you back playing basketball and thoroughly enjoying it, as we are this game. It's a 6-point game at halftime. The Opals 45, Japan 39. Back with more from the Quaycentre in Sydney right after this.
That craving to feel new again, to see something new that will blow our minds, or meet someone new who will change it. New South Wales, a place to feel free, to feel alive, and most of all, to feel new again.
Game 1 of the Australia-Japan series as the road to the Women's FIBA World Cup continues. Game 1 at the Quaycentre in Sydney. Game 2 Sunday 3:30. Tickets available now at ticketek.com. Game 3 Tuesday night 7:30 Eastern at the Newcastle Entertainment Centre. So log on to ticketek.com and get your tickets for what we're already seeing is a highly entertaining, fast-paced, frenetic series of basketball. Jason Bennett alongside Zoe Carr with Ginny Screen and Michelle Timms courtside. The Aussies by 6 as we get set for second half action. Australia dominating the boards as expected in that first half. 22-10 the rebounds. Kayla George, Tess Madgen 4 apiece. It's been one of the major differences in this game. And Zoe, they've done a fantastic job at stopping Japan getting to the rack and taking those long-range shots, which Australia's then able to clean up.
Yeah, they've, you know, I spoke about the containment needing to be tightened up, and I think they did a good job of that. And forcing them into the three-point shot is where you want to go. Now we need to have plan B for when those shots do actually drop. If they have a night out, you know, what are we going to do, or what are we going to change to be able to make sure we can cover both penetration and three-point shot?
Hill and Garvin and George all involved, but Hill coughs that one up. It's picked off by the lightning-quick Miyazaki, and her first couple of steps are unbelievable.
Lightning fast, and like I said in the break, you know, it's easy to sit here and say clean up the one-on-one containment or keep them off the glass, but really, that is a tough ask with the way that they move and the way that they use their footwork. They've really, Japan as a country has really adopted the zero step, which makes it even harder for the defense.
And Shyla Hill hits the long range. Here is Miyazaki Saori once again. Just so light on her feet, ability to just change direction almost in mid-air. Okoye, Miyazaki. Here's Miyazawa. Back to Monica Okoye. Wants to work on Blitzarves, who does enough. It comes loose. George. Madgen, outstanding first half from Tess. Back to her Boomers teammate. Now to Shyla Hill. Kayla. Harassed. Pressure came from Miyazawa. Gets it inside to Blitzarves. It's deflected away and out off the hand of Toto. As we head down to Jenny Screen. Jenny, messages from Cheryl Chambers to the troops at half-time.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting stuff. You know, we talked about containment and how we probably have to do a better job of that. And Cheryl alluded to the fact that they've got to do a better job of stunting behind the ball, get those second, third rotations going, especially if they're getting beaten. She also talked about they had a pretty good start. They got some good leads. Now they have to maintain it. And secondly, she wants the same level of determination that they showed at the end of that first quarter into the second at the start of this third quarter, guys.
Thanks, Jenny. Shot clock violation there for Australia. Okoye off to Miyazaki. This is Miyazawa back to Miyazaki. Akaho working on heel through traffic out to Okoye. Shot clock down to 3. Off hands. Opal's ball. So Monica Okoye, 23-year-old from Tokyo. Nigerian father, Japanese mother. Older brother plays professional baseball in Japan. And again, it's Miyazaki interrupting the pass from Shyla Hill. Sets up, quick release for 3. Low percentage shot was picked off, and here's Miyazaki once again. Uses the support. Won't drop for Miyazawa. And George has dominated the glass all night. Australia with the size advantage. Off to Madgen. 4 rebounds in the first half for Tess. A lot of those just hustle plays. Blitzarves. Around Toto to George. Won't go. And Miyazawa off to Miyazaki. Now Toto. 3 of the major playmakers for Japan all involved. Akaho is open. Works on Madgen. Off to Toto. And it's good.
Yeah, Opals will be looking here to really steady the ship at the offensive end, you know, make sure they get the ball through hands. I think a few early shots that probably they needed to you know, get more touches and get more people involved before letting it go. So a little bit of a similar start to the first quarter so far for the Opals. especially at the offensive end. So hopefully they can settle in quickly and get back to the offense that we saw in that second quarter.
There's Tess Madgen being harassed there by Toto Nanako, drawing a foul. It's Australia by 4. Early going third term. Madgen. Double teamed. Steps through that traffic. Blitzarves just too ferocious with the pass to George. And Reed. Backcourt violation. A lot of mustard on that pass from Sarah Blitzarves.
Yeah, got a little excited and tried to get it there as quick as possible, but the idea was right, just the execution, Paul.
So Uzuma with the inbound. Uzuma Shiori. 27-year-old from Okinawa. Plays her club ball in Germany. Receives it back. Wants to work on Reed. Hiroshita. Handles lost from Noguchi. Chance for Blitzarves. This time a little gentle floating pass over the top to George for 2.
And great rim run from Kayla George there. You know, she didn't space out or try and flare out to the three-point line. She just went from point to point and got herself a high percentage layup.
Uzuma to Takata Maki. Noguchi gets position under the hoop and draws a foul. Foul on Steph Reed. And Noguchi Sakura will go to the line. 21-year-old from Niigata. Plays her club basketball at Chanson v Magic. Making her senior debut for Japan tonight.
It's great vision by Japan there to be able to get that to the mismatch so quickly. Sometimes when we get a mismatch, you know, we pass the ball around a bit, we become focused only on the mismatch, where they did a great job of lifting the opposite big and just going that high-low straight away as soon as they recognize the mismatch.
Makes the first. They'll set up again for the second. And Noguchi makes both. So Japan hanging around as they have since late in the opening term. They led by 11 at one stage, Australia. They really got on top. Japan closed it up to be behind by 6 quarter time, 6 at the half. The margin currently 4. Reed inside to George. And she'll go to the line and shoot 2. Foul on Hiroshita Aika. Again, the size of Kayla George causing trouble on the inside.
Yeah, and it's something we need to exploit. I know I mentioned earlier, Kayla George, bread and butter. She loves a mid-range game. She loves to shoot a 3. But in this particular game, our advantage is our size here. So we need to start putting pressure on them, get ourselves to the line. We only went to the line 8 times in the first half. And with the size advantage that we have, that should be much more. So keep looking to pump the ball inside as much as we can through pass and penetration and look to take advantage of our size.
George is good from the line. Long ball inside to Hiroshita. She then steps back out, kicks it to Yasuma. Takata tries to take position. Noguchi. And here is Takata.
Just an example of dribble penetration causing havoc. We have to help off somewhere. We've got to give something up, and unfortunately that time it was a layup.
Here's Lauren Nicholson. Froling. Blitzarves. Wants to go herself into the lane, draws a crowd. Nicholson kicks it out. Reed can set up for 3. It's short. Good board there from Froling. Fights her way through some traffic. Retreats to Blitzarves. She's being harassed by Noguchi. Long 2 for Sarah, won't go either. And Toto can gather it in for Japan. Off to Uzuma. Chance for Japan here to tie things up. Uzuma thinks about the 2, then thought about the give, and it's actually off Australia. So it will be a Japanese ball.
And great job from Nicholson there, just to be able to get behind, tag the roller from behind, and stop her getting a straight line to the basket there, just making it difficult and making her have to pause when she nearly came up with it as a result.
So Kayla George and Shyla Hill leading the game for Australia with 10 points each. This is Hiroshita. Short, knocked away. They come from all sides. Nicholson can't control it. Takata, Yasuma, Stepping through is Toto once again. Reed works with Froling. Japan with their tails up at the moment. This is Uzuma. Hiroshita. And the Japanese draw within a point. And Cheryl Chambers has seen enough. She calls a timeout.
Just outstanding job from Japan, just to up the pressure starting this second half. You know, for them it has started at the defensive end. Whilst they are executing offensively, the defensive end has ticked the scoreboard over a little bit just to get them back in line and again, make them feel comfortable and be able to get on the rim and get on that scoreboard.
13 points to 6 so far in this third term. Japan getting the game on their terms really for the first time since the early minutes. Looking dangerous. Aussies now have to respond. And here's Cheryl Chambers.
Hey, Biggs, if you get it, wings lead so they can throw it on. We don't have to go back to the one man. You're all capable, okay? So let's break the pressure and then play offense. Next play, we're going to go weak. Okay, if the ball goes into the post, wherever it goes into, you've got to move. You can't stand on the outside. We've got to get some movement. Keep getting on the boards here. Break the pressure. Opals on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Jenny Screen, Michelle Timms, courtside. What are you seeing?
Well, for me, guys, you talked about the pressure defensively from Japan. I think it's been the full court pressure that's been the issue. And Timsy, as a former point guard, how do you beat pressure in the full court?
Well, if you can't beat it with speed, I was one who never liked my post players to come near me and set a screen. I like to try and get it down myself. And if I couldn't beat it with speed, I'd be herky-jerky, stop, start, and get it over. Absolutely. But they're definitely having problems getting the ball down.
See, they go here. This is Cole to Nicholson. Great learning opportunity here for this young squad. Exactly why you play these warm-up games, to work through some of these scenarios. Froling to Heel. Nicholson gets to the free throw line. Froling another board. Keeps it alive. Goes herself. It's short. Off hands. Japanese ball. If you make it to the medal rounds at the World Cup in September, Zoe, you're playing 8 games in 10 days. There's not a lot of time for scouting opposition in between games. You've got to learn to adjust on the fly.
Yeah, and it's why it's important that, you know, obviously skill set is a factor, athleticism is a factor, but IQ is a factor. You have to be someone who can read a scout one day and defend something one day and then come to the next game and be completely different.
Uzuma puts another 2 in. They get another steal. Uzuma has it one more time. Off to Takada. Japan in control right now. This is Uzuma. You can see them growing in confidence. They spread the floor, and Toto drains it from deep. Japan on a tear right now. Australia need to find some control here. Froling. Again, the pressure comes. She tries to fight through it. Where's the support? And a frustrating foul there on Noguchi Sakura. Jenny Screen.
Guys, Timsy just made a good point. Japan is smelling blood right now. You can see the intensity is lifted. They're up and in, and Tess Madgen has now injected herself back into the game. Might be able to add a little bit of composure for the girls right now, but I'm with Timsy in terms of the full court pressure. You don't want to pick and roll because Japan, you know what they're doing? They're trapping the pick and roll wherever it is in the full court or in the half court. Allow our point guards to get the ball on the fly, use their speed, get a change of pace, and get the ball up early. Equally, allow someone else to bring the ball up like Cheryl alluded to in that timeout. But it's not only offensive end right now, it's also the defensive end. We have to contain the ball.
Another turnover potentially coming. Shot clock violation. And Japan continue to harass. They've got the Australians out of their rhythm in this third term. It's 18 points to 6, and they've taken a 6-point deficit and turned it into a 6-point lead.
Yeah, it's tough in these situations, especially when you've already blown a timeout in the quarter. You know, you sort of tussle back and forward. Do I call another one? I think what the Opals need to do, that offensively, as both Timsy and Jenny alluded to, you know, if they're not bringing the ball up, the way they're bringing the ball up the floor right now is causing us offensive execution issues because it's taking us so long, or it's a Froling or a Garvin that's having to bring the ball up the floor, and it's taking us out of our stuff. So everything's a bit clunky, everything's a second late, and that's where we're getting our shot clock violations or bad shot selections from. So the guards, a point guard, whether it be Madgen with that little bit more veteran savvy, has to step up and say, I'm going to take control of this and I'm going to make sure that we get the ball from point A to point B safely and into our offense for good execution.
Great insight from Zoe Carr, the assistant coach of the Australian Under-17 Sapphire team, alongside Opals legends Jenny Screen and Michelle Timms. Taking us inside this game and breaking it down from every angle. Nicholson, Cole, Garvin. Shot clock down to single digits. Madgen gets to position, lays in two and gets the and one. Jenny Screen mentioned the experience of Tess Madgen to come in, provide a bit of composure and a bit of leadership. You can see it right there.
Yeah, it's a tough finish, you know, and an absolute necessary score for the Opals. They needed that. So now it'll be interesting to see if they come out in their little half-court delay trap or whether they just go straight back into man.
And one. Important for the Aussies to just try and gain some composure here. Take Japan out of their rhythm a little. Miyazawa. Japan now starting to get some looks. It's Hiroshita. We mentioned at half-time the Australians have done such a great job at preventing Japan from getting to the rack, but they're doing so at will in this third term.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you just have that one little slip-up. You can't afford to allow them to get their eye in, to get that confidence. You can see they're a different team now, both ends. Look at the way they're jumping into the lanes, the pressure they're putting on the ball. You know, it has changed the tide of the game simply because we took the foot off the gas for a minute and a half.
And another shot clock violation as Japan just get Australia out of their offensive rhythm. What a third term this has been from the Olympic silver medalists. Stepping it up. We heard Akaho Himawari at halftime say they've been aggressive, they're going to continue to be aggressive, and it's working for them in this third term. Miyazaki's been outstanding. Off to Miyazawa and Toto. They've been the big three for Japan. Hiroshita's shown some class. Back out to Miyazawa. Hiroshita throws it away on this occasion. Better defensive set from the Aussies.
Much better. And I think they went back into a little bit more, they're still in a denial, but it's not a hard denial. So they weren't giving up back cuts or any face cuts or anything like that. They were there, they were ready to defend and did a great job on their switches. So if they can keep that up, they'll be able to tie this back a bit quicker.
Nicholson into traffic, 4 around her, and she's called for the travel. So 38 seconds remaining in this third term. Japanese ball, Miyazaki has it. She's been the spark. The game really come together. Let's not forget they've got 5 debutantes as well, so they're finding their way, building that chemistry, and they've really gelled in this third term. Miyazawa and Miyazaki been great. This is Miyazaki, draws a crowd, off to Okoya. Pressure came from Garvin, it was enough. 13 seconds, final play of the quarter. Australia needs some points here. They trail by 7. Madgen has it. She's got Cole setting up laterally. Goes to Garvin. Big three. Darcy can't get it to go. It's still alive for Nicholson, and she comes up with 2. Lauren Nicholson salvages the broken play. And as we turn for home at the Quaycentre with 1 quarter to play, it's Japan by 5. They're 61, the Opals 56. Wonderful third term from Japan. They piled on 22 points to 11 to go from 6 points down at half-time to 5 points up as we get set for the final term. Jenny Screen, Michelle Timms are courtside screening. What do you think the message was from Cheryl Chambers at the final break?
Basically, it was looking after the ball. They've got 16 turnovers to the Opals, and that's uncharacteristic of our team. We know we've got a few debutantes, and these girls probably haven't played together for a while, but we've got to look after the ball. But Timsy, what else do the girls have to do defensively?
I think Japan's done a great job since half-time. You know, we didn't see that from Japan in the first half, and they just flicked a switch and off they went. And I think Japan did a great job of adjusting to our defensive, the way we were playing D on them as well.
So
They've been sensational. They've also got 50 points off the bench.
Jade Melbourne back into the game, thanks, Jen. Shot from Madgen won't go. George can't control the rebound.
And even though that shot was missed, that's a well-executed first possession out of the break. So the more we can get those sort of possessions and those sort of offensive sets, the more likely we are to eventually get scores.
Scrambling D from the Aussies, shot won't go. Japan got a second look. Ricochets out. It'll be a Japan ball for Saori Miyazaki. Crowd at the Quaycentre in Sydney, getting vocal, trying to lift the Aussies. They trail by 5. Miyazaki a little behind the head pass. Won't go for a Kahu. Ball in dispute. Jump ball. Possession arrow Japan's way. So Kahu Himawari in there, and then desperation from Toto in over the top. So great opportunity here on the fly to see who can adjust, who can take what Japan's giving them and make something good of it, Zoe.
Yeah, and be able to step up and say, okay, no more. Jenny mentioned about the turnovers. Who's going to step up and say, right, I'm going to take care of the ball? Who's going to step up and say, no one's getting by me defensively, and being able to get by me and get on the rim as quick as they have been.
And a breakdown there for Japan, unaware of the shot clock. And it's an Australian ball, so a handy break early here for Australia.
And it's a good start, a good offensive possession. Okay, we didn't get the score, but a good, well-executed offensive possession. Come down the other end and we're at a shot clock violation. So good start for the Opals.
And the Aussies find their rhythm on offense. Once again, it was taken away from them in that third term by Japan's frenetic defense. Ball's in the hand of Nicholson. Pressured again, has to release it. George down to 3 from the corner. It's short. And here's Miyazaki on the burst again to Okoya. Now Toto. She wants to work on Melbourne, sticks to the task, but draws the foul. Here's another look. Nanako Toto being so impressive.
A little bit biased because Jade's a Vic Country girl, but I'd probably say you'd be okay with that sort of a foul. She worked to get her position. She was straight up, is what it is. You know, the next possession, that exact same defensive pressure may go uncalled.
Toto, second shot is good. Margin back out to 6. Zoe Carr, assistant coach of the Australian Sapphires, the under-17 team. Alongside Opals legends Jenny Screen and Michelle Timms courtside. Screeny, good start to this final term from the Aussies. Now they need points on the board. We'll come back to Jenny in a moment. Nicholson, George. Nice feed through to Melbourne. Lovely play, Opals.
Love to see it, and a great read. Japan are doing a great job of getting in the lanes and making it difficult, coming up with deflections. The easiest thing to do is back cut.
And now a defensive stop for the Aussies. Here's Melbourne again.
Melbourne having a massive impact in the start of this last term.
Margin sits at 4. We're down to 8 minutes left in this game 1 of the 3-game series. Nicholson back to Melbourne. Draws a crowd. Thought about the give to Blitzarves. Instead she goes to Madgen. Turns the corner. Now to George. Catch, release. Not quite. Rattles out. And Miyazaki. Quick delivery. Well done, Kayla George. Off to Blitzarves. This one being played at a frenetic pace. Blitzarves wants to take on Okoya and does. 2-point game.
And a great start by the Opals. This was the energy, this was the endeavour that was lacking in that third quarter. So they've flipped their switch now. Obviously, Japan have called their timeout. They're going to try and make some adjustments. So it's up to the Opals now. Can they maintain this? It's all well and good to do it for a couple of minutes, but to win this game, they're going to have to put this on for the rest of the quarter.
So a really pleasing response from Australia here. Just got caught out of their rhythm in the third term, looked a little rattled. Here's Cheryl Chambers in the huddle.
Hang on to it too low because you've got two on you, but it's a double whammy because we need to put both sides, either side, not just the kickback side, the other side, shorten and see if we can get it to you, okay? We'll be in really good shape, okay? If we get a good stop, get out and run. I don't think they'll stick with us. You're working really hard. This group's doing a great job, so continue
Try and
it.
get more pinches into the screen away action. Get them moving.
Yep, move, pinch it, screen, the two-man. Okay, let's run that next time. Opals on three. 1, 2, 3.
Jenny Screen and Michelle Timms are courtside.
Nice little timeout there from Cheryl. Obviously, we know Japan had to call that to stem the flow. Timsy, what are you seeing from the Opals right now?
Well, I think they're being much more aggressive offensively, which is what they have to do. I really want to be able to tighten up a little bit more defensively when the Japanese put the ball on the floor. They're very tough to defend, but we've got to keep them in front of us.
They are indeed. Toto doing damage with 23 points, and Takada, the captain, with 15. It'd be nice to see if someone like Nicholson or maybe Jade Melbourne can lock them up in the end of this fourth quarter. Guys, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Jen. Here's Yasuma. It's got a mismatch against George. Off to Miyazawa. Hiroshita. A KO. Well done. Madgen got in, blocked the play, forced the turnover. Tess Madgen's been enormous tonight.
And you, absolutely, like I mentioned earlier, generating extra possessions, doing all the little things. She mentioned it at halftime about, you know, being a real example to the new debutantes of what it is to be an Opal and how they play, and she's doing a great job of that.
Ambitious pass from George to Madgen. Into triple coverage, Akaho drives hard on Melbourne. Offensive foul. And Jade Melbourne, as you mentioned, having a huge influence in this final term.
Massive. And if you were to talk to her right now, she'd probably still just laugh. But, you know, from an offensive and defensive perspective, she's doing it at both ends. And to see, with her age, for her to be able to step into a game like this and just have no fear is fantastic and a really good sign for the Opals moving forward.
Exactly what the coaching staff are looking for. Signs like this. Blitzarves to tie it up. Yes, indeed. Aussies draw level once again.
And you can just see the aggression now. We're getting the ball from point A to point B a lot easier. You know, it's now that shot becomes, that was an absolute give-me in the third quarter. There was no way that was going to miss. But now, because of the pressure the Opals have put on both defensively and offensively with scoreboard pressure, now all of a sudden that layup tightens up a little bit.
Blitzarves the miss from the corner. This is Yuzuma. Surrounded. Kicks it out to Carter. Back to Yuzuma. One-on-one with Melbourne. Shot clock down to single digits. To the corner. Toto. And George again pulls in another board. Blitzarves under pressure and forced into a travel by Yuzuma Shiori.
Again, that's a turnover you'd be okay with. You know, obviously we don't want turnovers, but you're trying to push the ball. You're trying to put pressure on them and force them back into defensive transition and into scramble. So, you know, every now and again you're going to get one of those and you'll wear it.
Yuzuma again one-on-one with Melbourne. Hiroshita. Toto working on Nicholson. Back out. Hiroshita gets Blitzarves off balance with a lovely move but can't complete the shot, and Sarah tidies it up. To Madgen. Australia with a chance to regain the lead as we approach the midway point of the final term. Blitzarves, Nicholson, George, Melbourne. Will she go herself? Feeds it inside to Blitzarves and the Opals are in front.
Beautiful read there, straight to the throwdown, straight to the floor, as quick as anything, and then sees two, finds the open player. Just outstanding.
Toto. Off to Miyazawa. Won't go. Aussie ball.
And you can see when you play with this sort of fight and you play with this sort of passion and care and, frankly, pride, things start to go your way. In the third quarter, that foul probably would have been on us. But now, because we're more aggressive, we're being more physical, we're setting the tone, now all of a sudden, that falls our way.
Nicholson boxing out hard on Toto, who tried to reach in over the top, gave away the foul. You can see Maddie Rochi just sitting there in her tracksuit behind Blitzarves, out with a hamstring injury. Satina Akuzo out with illness. Annalee Maley, the support, coming on her way back from the US as Melbourne lays in another couple. What a performance from Jade Melbourne. Has changed the game for Australia. Miyazaki hands it off to Takata. Noguchi back to Takata, the veteran. Miyazaki to the corner. Noguchi, they need it, can't find it. And Australia's lead sits at 4. Possession in the hands of Kayla George. We're under 5 minutes. Madgen to Blitzarves. George inside, being held. Foul on Noguchi Sakura. And Kayla's been a problem all night.
Yeah, and look, roll to the basket, I've been asking for it all night. We're getting it, we're getting the high percentage looks. We've just got to recognise though, 2 there, we probably want to try and skip that, find the open player on the weak side, and then we could probably still find Kayla on that cut, just to not put her under so much pressure, because if she did catch that clean with no foul, that is going to be then difficult to do anything with it.
5-second violation on Tess Madgen, turns it over.
Seemed quick.
Japanese ball, Tess agreed with you. Shyla Hill back into the game as Lauren Nicholson takes a seat. So a handy break there for Japan. Margin sits at 4, they can get it back inside 1 possession. Takata, Miyazaki, back to Takata, they work the 1-2 again. Miyazaki, shot clock single figures. Takata comes across to lay a screen, but George is there to cover. Will Miyazaki take her on? They turn it over. George, Melbourne with speed, and draws a foul. What a final term from Jade Melbourne. Sandy Brondello, Cheryl Chambers and the coaching staff are looking for exactly these sort of things. Which players can come on, have an impact? Who can adapt to the style of play that's being played right now? Jenny Screen and Michelle Timms. Jade Melbourne's been outstanding.
Oh, I am so excited watching her at the moment. She's got the crowd up on their feet and really enjoying. And Timsy is really excited to have an interview with Jade after the game. But she's been great, hasn't she, Timsy?
Oh, she's been unbelievable. It's the form that we saw from her at the Asia Cup too.
Shot from Hill won't go. George, Madgen. Inside 4 minutes. Australia in control right now. Inside to George, steps through. Melbourne for 3, she's sizzling.
Just 100% impact. Just no fear.
Noguchi, Japan need a response. Margin's blown out to 7. Miyazaki goes herself, then kicks it out. They need it. Hiroshita can't get it to go. Over the top came Noguchi to keep it alive. Second opportunity here for Japan. Hiroshita off to Miyazaki. To the corner. Toto. Hiroshita. That won't drop either. And Japan have been forced into a lot of long-range shots. They're just not working for them tonight. Madgen sells the dummy on Miyazaki. Froling loses her footing. And with under 3 minutes left, Australia sit on a 7-point lead. Jenny, Timsy, from a Japanese perspective, what can they do to try and wrest the momentum back from Australia here?
Well, right now, they've had some great looks on the offensive end just then, where you saw that nice open 3 they had off a rotation and a nice ball movement. For me, they've just got to knock those ones down and get themselves back in the ball game. I think they've been great on the defensive end for most of the game, but they're rotating thick and fast. And sometimes that just takes the momentum and the wings from underneath you at times. But we're going down to the wire here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a close one.
Aussies back out to an 8-point lead now, Froling. Doesn't get the friendly bounce. Toto. Miyazaki. Japan needs some points here. Need a spark. Miyazama. Okoya. Wants to work on Madgen. Long-range shot's not going. Now the inside isn't either. Madgen to Melbourne. Well played, Miyazaki. Well played. Jade Melbourne kept it alive. It was smart by Miyazaki. Melbourne didn't panic. And it's Madgen's ball.
And just tough from Madgen too. Just did not quit on that possession.
Draws a crowd, gives it off to Froling. She wants to step through Okoye. Has to go back out to Heel. Has to put the shot up with a second remaining. And it'll be a Japanese ball. So with 2:10 left in game one of this three-game series, it's the Aussies by 8 points.
Yeah, Opals, to make sure they either maintain this lead or extend it, they need to make sure they don't fall into the same traps of the third quarter, of broken offense, you know, rush shots, shots that we don't know where they're coming from. You know, our shots need to make sense because we know that our bad shots generate Japan's offense.
So Australia just needs some composure here. A plan for the last couple of minutes. It's Japan that have to change something. They need to make something happen here. Here's Cheryl Chambers.
The only way that they're going to get back in here is if we're stupid after the pressure, okay? So let's keep being smart with the pressure. Keep moving. Any screen, get out of the screen. Release, go the whole time. One up is fine, I think, because it takes the pressure off to go into it. So continue to run into that a little bit, okay? And let's make it a screen away regardless this time, okay? Go screen. So the two-man, don't get too low here because it's too far for them to screen, okay? Good job. Opals on 3. 1, 2, 3.
So Coach Chambers there just basically willing her team to make sure they stay in the mindset that they're in at the moment. Keep taking care of the ball. Japan right now, for them to have a chance of getting this game back, they're going to have to put pressure on, similar to what we saw in that third quarter. So Australia, the Opals just need to stay calm, stay poised, make sure they've got options available everywhere and continue to execute their offense. Long offenses is a win for the Opals.
Hiroshita have to be quick. Another long-range shot, and George is there to snatch possession. Aussies happy to run down the shot clock. As she said, get into the offensive sets, take their time, slow the game down. It's Japan that have to make something happen. George for 3, it's short. That'll work for Nicholson. She can't get it to go either. And Toto on the burst here for Japan. Gets to the arc, sets up, misses.
We're almost at the point now for the Opals too. You know, if you've got to give something up, give up the layup. Don't allow the three-point play.
Blitzarves pulls the trigger on a 3. George with size and strength. Loses the handle. Miyazawa. Miyazaki back to Miyazawa. And now Miyazaki. Australia happy to slow it down. We hit the final minute of game one. Toto for 3. It's good. Back to 5 points. Japan now have to ratchet up the pressure. George.
And the Opals just need to be careful that they don't go negative here. There's one thing to make sure that we take the air out of the ball and take time off the clock, but we still want to be aggressive.
Madgen for 3, can't get it to drop, and Nicholson fumbles it out. Door opens here for Japan. It's a 2-possession game, 40 seconds remaining, Japanese ball. And a timeout called. Jenny Screen, Michelle Timms. Hearts will be pumping in the Opals camp.
Oh, absolutely, but I'm loving the composure by the girls right now. You've seen that Cheryl Chambers has injected Lauren Nicholson back into the lineup, just probably from a defensive prowess for her to lock up someone, but also just her calmness as a veteran. Timsy, what else do you think the girls have to do?
Yeah, well, speaking of veterans, I think that Kayla George has really turned it up this quarter. And Tess Madgen's been superb all game, and I think they've just steadied the ship in this quarter, along with Jade Melbourne just being extraordinary. That's why we've got the lead back.
But now, ladies and gentlemen, like Jace and Zoe, got 40 seconds left, and Japan aren't the silver medalists from Tokyo for no reason. They will come out with 5. They've only got 5 points to catch up here. If they just get a 3 or a 2, it's going to be a quick hit, but their defense is going to be next level in this next 40 seconds.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if Japan do get a a score here, whether Coach Chambers calls a timeout to try and advance the ball and take a bit of that pressure off. The problem with that, though, is sometimes that can have everybody all in the half court. So you do advance the ball, but it puts everybody in a half court. So this is where the chess game starts from a coaching perspective. It's a lot of fun.
So Japan do advance the ball. They get 14 seconds. They want a quick basket here. Get back within a possession. There's their coach, Onzuka Toru, who took over in September of last year after the Olympics. Really successful domestic coach. 5 straight titles with Tokyo Healthcare University. So here's Miyazaki. Japan come up with a quick basket. It's in the hands of Miyazawa. She draws a foul.
I mean, ultimately, you want to come up with the stop there as the Opals, but if you're going to do anything, do that. Make her go to the line. You know, we'd like a little more time have come off the clock, but at least she's got to go to the line. She's got to try and earn it.
Misses the first. That's a huge miss. Changes the scenario for Japan. Makes the second. It's a 4-point game, so it's still a 2-possession game. 4 seconds came off the clock there. And now it's about execution for the Opals as, again, Cheryl Chambers will sit down and address the troops. Australia led by 6 at quarter time, 6 at the half. Japan, a dynamic third term, 22 points to 11 to hit the final change with a 5-point lead. And so far in this final term, it's been 14-5 Australia. Cheryl Chambers in the huddle.
Okay, so just relax when we go to the line, okay? It's a 2-possession game, so look after the ball, get it up there. We use as much of the clock as they allow us to in a one-up action, and then we defend, okay?
That worst, hold the ball and get a jump ball, okay?
Yeah. Takes 5 seconds to get that. Opals on 3, 1, 2, 3.
So great call from Coach Chambers here. It looks like she's not going to advance the ball, so that means the shot clock doesn't drop to 14. So they've got the chance to try and take 24 seconds off. Now, Japan, I would say, will not allow that to happen. So if they don't come up with a steal, I'd say they're probably going to look to foul and try and stop the clock and get to a point where they can try and get in lanes and come up with a quick steal, or at least put them to the line to get possession back.
Aussies with 8 seconds to advance it to the halfway. And they do trap Blitzarves. They do it really well. Here's Nicholson. Can she get there? She does, just in time to Madgen. They've still got 15 seconds. No hurry for the Opals. Japan, it's a 10-second differential between shot and game clock. And Melbourne is fouled, and Japan almost got what they wanted. Hearts in mouths on the Opals bench. Fortunately, Nicholson managed to get it to the halfway line just in time.
Yeah, that was touch and go there for a second, but great composure from Blitzarves there. You know, it could have been really easy to either turn that ball over or just hold it and get a violation.
The ice-cool Jade Melbourne steps up, makes the first. 5-point game. Aussies by 6. 5-second differential. They've just got to put up a 3. Miyazaki does. It won't go. Takada. Aussie ball. Madgen has it. Now George. Now Melbourne. Fitting that Jade will get the final shot. And Australia takes game 1. The Opals off to a great start in Sydney. The two teams to have a day off. They'll rest up for game 2 on Sunday afternoon. And what an exciting game 1. The Opals 72, Japan 66. Was Australia by 6 points at quarter time, 6 at the half. Japan took control in the third to lead by 5 points at the final change, but a great final quarter from Australia. 16 points to 5 as they ratcheted up that defensive pressure. And they regained that 6-point halftime lead to run out winners 72-66 in a really entertaining game one. Jenny Screen with one of the best players on the court, Kayla George.
She was great tonight. She was a leader of this team. The last time you played Japan was the semi-final of the Asia Cup, going down by 2. Must be nice to get them at the start of this series tonight.
Yeah, it sets a good foundation piece for us. We've worked really hard this week. We've got a lot of new faces in the group, a lot of young faces. Jade Melbourne killed it in that last quarter particularly, and yeah, it was nice to get the win. We've got a couple more games against Japan. They'll make adjustments, we'll make adjustments, and it'll be a cracking series.
No Jenna Haig, recently retired. You've got a lot of opals overseas in Europe playing the WNBA. I feel like you're taking more of an ownership to this team tonight, the way you came out at the start of this game.
Yes, certainly. And look, it gives people opportunity. Like, those girls are away, but these young girls are coming out. I mean, Sarah Blitzards had a cracking game as well. Madgen led really well. I think it just gives, other players opportunities to step up and say, hey, Sandy, here I am. Like, World Cup, here we go.
Absolutely. Now, you did mention Jade Melbourne. We were so excited. Timsy thought she was absolutely amazing that fourth quarter. What is her energy like? Because she just seems like she's just a bubble of fun at 19 years of age.
Yeah, well, if she's not eating, she's giggling, so that's kind of her vibe at the minute. So I try and stay relevant, have a few jokes with her, but no, she's a great egg and she's got a good head on her shoulders and a bright future ahead for sure.
118 days to go until the World Cup. This team is not even selected yet, but what is it like to play on home soil? It doesn't happen very often.
It really doesn't happen very often. It's very exciting. It's a bit surreal, actually. This gives us a taste of what it'll be like in September. So, look, I'm really excited. Family and friends will be actually on court side. We didn't get that in Tokyo last year, so it's going to be really special, Screeny, really special.
Well, a great start to the series. Enjoy this win. We'll see you on Sunday. Timsy, over to you with one of the youngsters and superstars of the Opals tonight.
Yes, thank you very much, Jennifer Joy, and I have with me Jade Melbourne. Now, before the game, actually at shoot-around, I said, Jade, you do Melbourne, and you did not disappoint.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to play the same way I always do. I come out with energy, whether I play 2 minutes or play 40. And that's what I did. All these girls give me confidence to go out what I do. You gave me confidence before the game, and yeah, I just tried to be me tonight, and it was great to get a win.
Well, it was certainly entertaining. I don't know whether you know this, or you probably do know this, but you'd only played 2 minutes in the second quarter, and then you finished off the whole last quarter. 11 points, an assist here or there, a rebound. Just magnificent energy too.
Yeah, that's, as I said before, that's just what I do. And that's what I've been told to do. That's my role, I don't know how many minutes I'm going to play, but I'm just always going to put my best foot forward. I enjoy playing the game of basketball, and I love playing for the Opals, so that's what I did tonight.
And what's your mindset when you are sitting so long and then suddenly you get injected against a team who's been, they're extremely hard to play?
Yeah, absolutely. I just try to stay locked in on the bench. I'm always watching the game. I'm always up on every possession, and that's how I kind of stay focused. And then when it's my time to play, I know what to do, and I just come in and bring that energy.
Speaking of energy, you got the crowd going today, and playing here in Australia I haven't seen an Opals game here in Australia for quite a while. How great was it to be back on your home soil?
It was unbelievable. The fans were unreal. You felt every possession. They were up and about. Whether we were down or up, they rode the momentum with us, and bouncing off them was unbelievable. When I made a couple of points, they were up and about, and it's just an electric atmosphere, and it's just a test for what's going to happen in September when the World Cup's here.
Well, we cannot wait for that, and good luck in the next 2 games. Superstar.
Cheers, Timsy. Thanks for having me.
Thanks to Michelle Timms. Thanks, Timsy. With Jade Melbourne and Kayla George there with Jenny Screen. Wow, what a game one. We said at the outset it was going to be fast and furious. It was certainly that. A lot of fun to watch. And plenty for both coaches to take out of this, which is exactly what you need from warm-up games like this, Zoe, because both teams had their periods of the game where they were in control so they can see what works, and they both had periods when they were out of control so they can see what doesn't work.
Yeah, absolutely. You actually find more of how you are as a team and what you need to work on when the chips are down. So both teams had a great opportunity to see that, and I think both teams will go away and they will make adjustments, and like we mentioned earlier, it'll be who can make the adjustments quicker and implement them, because the turnaround is 2 days. So they're going to have to get that up and ready to go within 48 hours.
Zoe Carr, assistant coach of the Australian Under-17 Sapphires team. And one of the things, Zoe, about international basketball that's very different to club basketball, and we always hear experts talk about, hey, it's a different game. One of those things is no scouting time and the ability to adjust in-game. And so not just from a coaching perspective, but players, heads-up players who can change aspects about their game. And tonight, a couple really came to the fore.
Absolutely, as well as the ability, a really big, important, I suppose, asset that you have to have as a player at this level is the ability to sort of shelve what you are normally as a player sometimes. You know, you just heard Jade Melbourne there say, my role is to come on here. I don't know if I'm going to play 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, but it's to come on here and bring energy, and both offensively and defensively, you know, as opposed to when she just came out of the under-19s with the Gems, where it was all about Jade. You know, the whole game plan was around her. But having that ability to sort of set that aside and say, what is the best for this group? What do I need to bring? What do I need to do? And then the ability to implement that, even if it's not a natural part of your game.
So Jade Melbourne outstanding in that final term, as Michelle Timms mentioned. Tess Madgen had such an impact early. Kayla George was so influential all night. So let's take you inside the Australian camp now. What did their coaches learn from this Game 1 6-point win? Jenny Screen with assistant coach Shannon Seabohm.
Exactly. What did the girls learn? Was the game go to plan, and how was the scout for you guys tonight?
Yeah, look, you know, Japan are one of the best teams in the world, and we understand that. You know, they're full of players that can shoot the ball. They're very skilled. So, you know, I'm really happy with how we played. I think the girls stuck to the defensive plan for the majority of the game. And, I think we've got a lot we can improve going into next game.
Obviously, selections are up for grabs. There's a lot of new faces, a lot of girls overseas. Who do you think were the standouts tonight?
Oh, look, I think obviously Tess and Kayla did a great job. They're the senior leaders of the group. But I thought young Jade Melbourne came in, really gave us energy in the fourth quarter and sort of turned that tide for us.
In terms of Japan, obviously they got second at the Olympics in 2020 at Tokyo Olympics. Their pressure was pretty phenomenal coming out of the half. How are you guys going to adjust that for Game 2?
Yeah, look, I think we're going to look at our press break a little bit. And, you know, some of our counters, I think, within our offense as well, and they take certain things away. But I think that's the beauty of having a 3-game series. We can now make some adjustments, as will they, and, you know, we'll hit it out again in 2 days.
It was so good to talk to you, get some insight into the inner sanctum and the Opals. Good luck for the rest of the series.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks to Jenny and Shannon Seabohm. Plenty more to come from the Key Centre in Sydney. We'll get the final thoughts of Jenny Screen, Michelle Timms and Zoe Carr when we return right after this. It's Australia's 6-point winners. Game 1 of a 3-game series right here on ESPN and KO.